March. And they were at one point in March, the Bulls were 31-31. So they were really struggling 2 years after. And he finally came back just in time to sort of get ready for those playoffs when they finally lost to the Magic, as you recall. But he gave up 2 prime years of his career, one to play baseball. And again, he hit .202 for the Birmingham Bulls, who happened to be part of the White Sox, owned by his Bulls owner, Jerry Reinsdorf. But he hit .202, he hit 3 home runs, and that's in 436 at-bats. He did drive in 51 runs, which is not bad. He stole 30 bases, which is not bad. But again, was he a baseball player? No, he wasn't a baseball player. He was good enough to be respectable at AA, but that's all. And the point was, Shannon, the Michael I got to know in Chicago, his fire raged so hot that he just couldn't stop competing. He said, I have a competition problem, not a gambling problem.
Correct.
And
yes.
He wanted to gamble at everything, especially golf.
Yes.
And again, I've walked with Michael during rounds of golf. Trust me on this. He's very good, but he's not great. He's not going, he never had any shot at playing professional golf. He looked like he could shoot 75 or 78 to me. You know, he'd be like a 5 or 6 handicap. Yeah, I know. But he was. He could have his moments. I'm sure playing for a lot of money, maybe occasionally he could shoot par. But in general, he was just a pretty good golfer. But I've always told you, and I'm sure your big brother has told you, golf is the hardest game in the world to play. There's nothing like the challenge of golf, because the ball doesn't move until you move. You don't pass the ball. You don't catch the ball. There's no reacting like catch and shoot it. You have to think it all through before it even happens. You can't play defense. You can't say, well, he was just better than me today because I couldn't guard him. It's such a hard game, and it comes and it goes and it comes and it goes. So he got addicted to gambling at golf. And then he got addicted to gambling at cards. And he got addicted to gambling, as you saw in the documentary, with his security guy. What was his name? John Michael Wozniak. He passed away last January, Michael Wozniak did. But the point was, they're flipping quarters against the wall, and we saw Jordan lose at that. And I think he lost a lot at flipping quarters, golf, and cards. Yes. He never lost at basketball when it mattered, but when it came to those games, I think his addiction started getting to him where he couldn't stop, and then he couldn't stop losing, and he would double down and triple down. And the point was, he was still playing at a supremely high level in basketball. Because I remind you, Shannon, despite all the controversy from the gambling, guess what he did against Barkley's Suns in that 93 finals? He averaged 41, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists. 41, 9, and 6. Wow. Well, that's tremendous. Yeah. You could argue it was the best numbers he ever put up in a finals. And then you're telling me he's just going to walk away from that? He's going to effectively just quit basketball for a while? I don't buy it. I think there was something operating much deeper than that. I don't think we're going to get to it in the documentary because obviously it's Michael's documentary. He's got editorial control over it. So, no, he's not going to go there. But I appreciated the fact that they touched all the right bases on the gambling. They didn't run from it. They didn't ignore it. They laid it out there for you, and then you draw your own conclusions. And mine is that gambling did play some big part in him being forced, or at least encouraged, to take a sabbatical after the 93 season.
Skip, the thing is for golf and what my brother's teaching me, has taught me about the game of golf is that, and he plays it all the time. He's hitting, he's chipping, he's putting, he's doing all these things. He said the difference between golf and other sports, you get to play against the guy. He said, but in golf, you playing against the course. And see, that's what Michael Jordan runs afoul, Skip. He's like, when Charles Barkley won the MVP, he says, okay, you gave him that, I'm about to get this. I can play against you, Charles. You're not playing against the basketball court. You're playing against Charles Barkley. Okay, you gave Mailman my MVP. I'm playing against him. I'm going to get it back. You see, Skip, the thing is, like, when you go to Vegas, you have a winning hand. Vegas knows if they can just keep you there long enough, the tide will swing, and they'll get all they lost back to you and all you brought in. They'll get all of it back, and that's what happened to Jordan, Skip. He was starting to lose at quarters, and he just couldn't walk away, Skip. He's like, okay, well, I'll give you 4 cracks to beat my 1.
Right.
He just can't help
it. He did.
Skip, quarters is a game that I played in 4-H. We played as kids, pitching pennies, pitching nickels, closest to the wall to win. That's how competitive he was, Skip. As an athlete, I think it was Will Perdue was telling the story. Now, the big dogs were in the back of the plane. They're probably playing Guts or Boo Ray, and people at home, hopefully you know what that is. I don't have time to explain it to you. He said, but he and B.J. Armstrong and John Paxton, they're playing up front, and they're playing blackjack for $1 hand. And Michael comes up there and says, well, can I play? And Pax asks him, like, well, Michael, why would you want to play with us? He says, because I want your money in my pocket. You see, Skip, and I tell you all the time, when you're an athlete, Skip, we make money. You don't really gamble to try to make money. I didn't want the guys' money because everybody was making money. I wanted their pride. I wanted you to go to the bank and get me $10,000 worth of nickels. And when they ask you, why are you getting $10,000 worth of nickels, I wanted you to say, because I lost the bet to Shannon Sharpe. That's what Michael wanted. Skip, what do he want with $1 from John Paxton or B.J. Armstrong? He wanted the fact that they knew that he knew he had took $1 from them. Skip, that's what it meant to him.
Okay, so the fire that raged in him on the basketball court and took him to heights we've never, ever seen before on the basketball court could get him in trouble off the court in games he wasn't great at. That's what started happening because his basketball got greater and greater. And we saw the Dream Team story of that one practice game that they played, an intra-squad game in which it started getting hot and heavy, and it was Magic and Bird on one side and Jordan on the other, and Magic starts trash-talking Michael, and they're up 8, he said, Magic said, and all of a sudden he's challenging Michael more and more, saying, we're going to run you out of the gym if you don't start playing like Jordan, like Mike. And all of a sudden he did, and he took the game over, and they'd never seen anything like it. And all those players have said that was the greatest basketball contest any had been a part of because it's all the greatest players ever on the same court at the same time. Well, Michael could dominate that. That's basketball. He could dominate that, and if you wanted to play for money, he'd play you for money there. But once he started playing golf for money with professional gamblers, I believe he did get into some trouble. And I do believe that in the end, it cost him a couple of years. And I'm going to throw one last point at you, Shannon. Remember, he did lose his father. His father was murdered on July 23rd of 1993. So after that Phoenix finals, 41-9-6, soon after, James, his father, the story was that he was driving the car, the Lexus that Michael had bought him, and it had license plates of UNC 0023, and a couple of kids are behind him on the highway. He pulls over to take a nap. This is the story. And they intended just to steal the car, and they wound up pulling the trigger on him and killing him. That's the story. It was a very controversial trial. Both went to prison for life. The 2 teenagers did. I don't know what happened. There's a lot of speculation that there was a deeper story that was going on there. So maybe that played into it. Maybe Michael needed to, obviously, to grieve the loss of the father that was so close to him. But a lot of things were operating under the surface there for Michael when he finally said, okay, I'm going to Birmingham to play baseball for the Bulls, the Birmingham Bulls.
It was the Barons, Skip. I think it was the Barons. I think it's the Durham Bulls and the Birmingham Barons. But Skip,
I think they were. That's right.
The Barons. Skip, I think what happened, to try to make this quick, Skip, I think what Michael did is that you're bringing people to gamble. That's money I can get. Well, I don't care who they are, what they do. Skip, I don't believe Michael Jordan asked who they were. They had money, he wanted to take it. Skip, if you notice, that's how drug people get brought down.